Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrooter.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. I'm going to talk a little about salt this morning and venture capital financing and what we're doing with these ICOs and the cryptos, crypto tokens. These are companies for the most part in the tokenized world that are doing the ICOs. So when you invest in an ICO, you're really a venture capitalist. You are investing in a company before there's any earnings, before the idea has been fully vetted, before they've come to market. So absolutely, it is a risk-reward situation. The difference between one of the many differences between venture capital financing of an IPO versus what the ICOs are doing is that number one, venture capital financing for the IPO is usually only accredited investors who are smart enough to invest get the shot at making the big bucks because you can lose the big bucks. With the ICOs, the whole world is pretty much available to invest. And so you're taking big risk, gigantic risk, but if you pick the right companies, you get big reward. And another difference is that with a venture capital IPO type of investment, pre-IPO obviously, they get warrants, they get stock options, they get all kinds of things, so that if the company is successful, they make a lot of money. But the thing is, they usually don't buy and sell their initial investment until that stock is on the market and trading, which is long after the company is up and running and making profits. With the ICO, initial coin offerings, the tokens and the tradable investment comes to market right away. So it is absolutely volatile, as is seen in salt. It's down like at $3. I picked up a little before under $4, and yeah, I think it's still undervalued. But the key to salt is it is a bridge between the new crypto economy and the old way of banking, and the non-crypto economy, and it is an important bridge, I think, for both the crypto people as well as the old school banksters. They will be around. A lot of them, there'll be a lot of problems, but they will be around for a while longer, and they're going to want to get involved. And I think the SALT platform is an amazing way that banks can bid on these new type of lending assets, lending not on credit. And remember the Equifax problem where all of your data is gone, so pretty much everybody's credit is now destroyed because it's been compromised. So lending on credit might actually go away, which will be really interesting. And what does that leave? It leaves lending on some kind of collateral. It's exactly what salt lending is doing. You couldn't have picked a better thing to happen. It's a bad thing, obviously, Equifax, losing all that data on people's credit. But people are already calling up their credit companies and saying, I want all my credit frozen and I don't want anybody stealing my data. Well, the banks are going to hit a point where they aren't even sure what is real and what is not. And I think that's where salt lending jumps in and says, hey, how about doing crypto collateral-based loans? And it's still in the early phases, but salt is one of those that's going to come to market really fast. And things will change really fast in the salt world, so just be ready for it. And as far as I want to show you something else, things that can happen in these kind of pre-startup stages, check this out. OmiseGo partners with McDonald's Thailand to provide seamless payment experience for online mobile orders. Yes, some of these crypto companies are up and running and doing it. And OmiseGo is going to be a great one. That's the one Cliff High says is going to go up 30,000%. He didn't say from what point, but it's going to go up 30,000% according to the data, probably by next year, I would guess. Because if they're striking deals with McDonald's, that's a huge thing. It is really getting to the guts of how fast these companies move and how large they can scale quickly. Let me read a little of this. Online payment technology service provider OmiseGo announced today that it has been chosen by McDonald's Thailand to be its exclusive payments gateway for its website, mcdonalds.co.th, and the McDelivery Thailand mobile app. With consumers' growing embrace of online and especially mobile technologies, purchases through digital channels have rapidly increased. The online and mobile transaction has been growing strongly over the past 2 years. To continue delivering seamless experiences for the growing number of online customers, McDonald's required a state-of-the-art digital payments platform that could support the company's present growth and future ambitions. And there's the OmiseGo staff with the McDonald's Thailand people. And quote, "We continue to raise the bar for our customers with convenience for web and mobile ordering as OmiseGo consolidates the payment by all card issuers with ease." That's how big this OmiseGo thing is. It's going to be huge in Asia, gigantic in Asia. It's going to leapfrog the old system, and a lot of the unbanked will be able to be banked. All you need is a cell phone. So really exciting for OmiseGo, and I think this is part of the beginning of the news that will come out. And it's not just McDonald's. It'll go bang, 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 bang. All of a sudden, OmiseGo won't have to go out looking for customers. They'll come running to them. So that's the kind of thing that happens in startup companies. Salt will be coming to market in November, December with their loans. You're going to see the same type of thing. A lot of these banks are going to want to get in because it'll be their foot in the cryptos to prove to their management they're on the leading edge. And this really is a bridge. I'm really excited about it, and I'm really excited about using their product, getting a crypto loan without having to sell your crypto and pay the tax consequences of the capital gains. And you keep ownership of your crypto that's being used as collateral. So if it goes up or down, and most likely it will continue to go up, especially next year, you get all the upside. So really, really great idea, and I'm excited for that. But let's go back to that whole idea of investments and what is venture capital, and why I believe that investing in ICOs is like a venture capital deal. It really is. The things you need to look at are very similar to what venture capitalists look at when they're deciding to throw $10 million at a company that is really a startup. That's all we're investing in is startups. And I saw a really cool graph. I found this article called "Investment Criteria Set by Venture Capitalists." And you can just do a Google search on that. It is from Marija Simic, Marijasimic. And there's a really cool, it talks about what venture capital is. And here's a really cool investors criteria examples. And these are when you're starting out a business, there's certain places you can get funding to help you. Everybody needs a little helping hand when they're starting out a business. They have a great idea and they want to run with it. They just need venture capital. And here's the suppliers of capital. They break down into this table. The first is family, friends, and fools. Personal relationships based on trust. Yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, Mom, can I borrow $10,000 to get my baseball card shop up and going," and things like that. That's what happens. And they get, usually it's just a loan. And they say, "Oh, you got to pay me back plus interest," that type of thing. And then you got business angels, which look for, they have more money to invest, but they're looking for startups that they can get a bigger return from. So they're going to want ownership or stock warrants and things like that. And what the things they look for is meeting or matching of individual entrepreneurs with business angels, atmosphere of trust between the individuals, credible business plans in the eyes of the business angel, good management team, fiscal incentives, market knowledge of the entrepreneur, availability of an exit route, return on capital. Now that's a relationship based. It's kind of like venture capital, except it's more, they know the people doing this, and everybody is kind of involved with the same thing, which is different than what we're doing, which is more venture capital. I'll show you that in a second. But the things banks look for, here's what banks will look for: availability of guarantees and collateral. That's pretty much all they care about. They'll lend you money at a cheap rate if you show that you're going to give it back, and if you don't give it back, somebody else gives it back, or you got collateral that they can sell off. There's also the perceived ability to repay the loan, company track record, and rating good management. And then repayable short-term loans Like 6 months. Do they have the things they look for? Innovative nature of the business projects, business equity, quality, business plan quality, and management team. Yeah, those are more risky, obviously, but they're very short term, so they can tell, here's the cash flow, we can meet that easily, type of thing. And then you get to the venture capital part. And this is what I think the ICOs, we that invest in ICOs, need to look for these certain criteria when we are investing in something like Salt. Or I love the food coin idea. If you guys got into food coin, I think they've already sold out. And then the pre-sale, and I think they're coming to a ICO type of thing in November, December. But I love the idea, and it really would take a venture capital, because it's a big idea. It would take venture capital or an ICO. But in that ICO, here's the things you need to look at. One, the business plan credibility. If you're investing in ICOs and you haven't read their business plan, you're crazy, absolutely crazy. I don't care who told you it was a good idea. If you don't like the idea personally, most likely no one else is going to like the idea either. So you need to read the business plan of the ICO that you're investing in. Number two, a business plan with patent technology. What is the technology that you're investing in, and how is it going to work? And that gets more to the computer programming code side. Cliff High does a lot of good work. If you got his reports on that side, it's hugely important, especially in a technology company that all these ICOs are. Then the track record. If the company doesn't have a track record already, then what is the track record of management? What have they done? Do they know what they're doing? Are they in the right industry? Can they create these projects and build them forward? Very important to dig into that stuff if you're going to invest in an ICO. Ability to grow fast and deliver quick. That's a real interesting one. And that's why with the difference, it really highlights the difference between venture capital, which is these people with money and a businesses that's building over here. And there's really nowhere for these venture capitalists to sell their ownership and their investment in these companies, because they don't have the exchanges and the token concept and all that. So they're looking for a return farther down the line. They have an idea of when it will come if it works. With the tokenization, it is commoditized the venture capital equity investment. So people are trading tokens even before, like Salt isn't even up and offering a product yet, except its tokens are trading back and forth. And because a lot of the investors are really don't know really what they invested in. They just want to they think they bought low, so they want to get out and make a profit. I've not nothing wrong with a profit, but you might be missing something. And that's the venture capital take. There's a reason these venture capital investors put money into something and are willing to just sit and wait, because they know that the return you're investing in, the potential Amazons and Apple Computers and Cisco and Googles of the world. That's really what's going on with these ICOs. There's going to be some absolute gems in this thing. And if your venture capital mentality is you put the money in now for the monster reward later. You don't sit there, I made 50% or 100% of my money, I'm going to cash out. Then you got fiat money and you look for the next best thing. Well, if your analysis was good in the beginning, maybe you already have the next best thing, and it's just traded on these crazy token exchanges where they're really, they're manipulated and very unsophisticated. But that's the whole side of people freaking out. If like Salt went down to $3 and people were selling, I'm like, are you kidding me? Keep selling, I'll buy. And now it's up to $6-7 again. But still, it's that mentality of what are you investing in? Venture capitalists risk huge money, because you are risking huge money when you invest in these ICOs. Why don't you wait for the payout? The payout is not now for companies like Salt and OmiseGo. The payout is after their product comes to market and gets accepted, and people say, "Oh my God, what a great idea! I wish I had known about it in the early days." Don't you wish you were in the garage with Steve Jobs and Wozniak inventing the first Apple computer? Because if you were, you would have seen this could change the world, and you could have invested then. That's what's going on right now with these ICOs. And then, so time to market is going to make a difference, because some of these ICOs, you're looking 2 or 3 years for the idea to come to fruition. And truthfully, a lot of them will never come to fruition. A lot of them, I've seen quite a few that people I know have invested in. And I'm like, there's no way these guys are ever going to come up with a product. There's just too much work to do between now and then, and they're not really dedicated. They were dedicated to their ICO because they can make a lot of money and then run away. Which, if you a big sign that there's a problem is if there's an ICO, they have a successful ICO, and then half the management team leaves the next day. I mean, they know that they don't have a product, and they never will have a product. It was a promise in the future. So that's the last thing I'd say is management team quality. Really look at the management team. Are they dedicated to this company? And who's on the board of directors of this company? Is there a board of directors of this company? And is there, is it a handful of people, or is it enough people to run a company? Obviously, when you're adding seed money, they're going to add people and build out the infrastructure of their company to go as big as the idea was for the business plan. But still, is it a quality management team? Are they hiding behind something that they're not telling you, and all of a sudden their ICO is done and they kind of disappear? Oh, we ran into some problems, or we lost half our staff. Well, where'd all that money go? They sold off their tokens. So those are what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I think everybody should dig into when they're investing in an ICO. Absolutely, or any crypto token. Cryptocurrencies are different. Those are currencies. They're built and meant to function like a currency to replace the unbacked fiat monetary system. Absolutely necessary. We need those badly. Probably the most important. But the tokens that are traded, and the idea of a token is to work within the infrastructure of the company and their ecosystem. PPT is a great example, or SALT tokens, or Pillar tokens. All that is within that infrastructure. OmiseGo. So really dig into these 5 things when you're buying into an ICO, or you're buying into a currently traded token. And that's your morning Horn of Z's. As you can tell, I love this type of stuff, how to analyze a business and how to look at it from a business point of view. And because everybody sends me emails, oh, why is the price of salt going down? I'm like, well, did your analysis of the business change? And they're like, what analysis of the business? Everybody needs to be smarter when they get into these ICOs. So really do your homework, know the management, read the business plan. Number 1, business plan credibility. Does it make sense to you? And would you use that product? Do you know people who would use these products? That's really important. Because if you're not going to use them and you don't know anybody else who would use it, why would you invest in it? I mean, you're an investor, not everything turns to gold that's at the end of the rainbow. Sometimes it's a pot of crap. But yeah, I really love this stuff. And if you're into it, this report is called Investment Criteria Set by Venture Capitalists. There's a few of them online, and really interesting stuff. And that's why I'm so excited about these ICOs, is that everybody can participate in a venture capital deal now. So yeah, that's your update for today. It is Sunday. I might get back to you later today. I've got a few things to do, but really exciting time for the cryptos. Silver's still on lockdown. We're hoping any day, but who knows? And we're coming into some hot times for Trump, according to Cliff's data. So keep an eye on what Trump's doing over the next couple weeks. This is Big Weir. We'll talk to you later.